Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Now, when Lord Bird founded The Big Issue in 1991, he hoped that a job selling the magazine would be a turning point in the life of a homeless person. But the latest edition focuses on something that proved his own turning point, or tipping point: art. Lord Bird says drawing classes saved him from hanging around with the window-smashing, car-stealing lads that he grew up with. And he wants others to have the same experience, as I've been finding out. Can art ever be a force for good? A very bourgeois question, obsessively asked by the Victorians, and now asked again in the latest edition of The Big Issue, with the help of some of Britain's most successful artists. And this man, Lord Bird. Is this one of yours?
This is one of mine, yeah. I call it a self-portrait because Francis Bacon said that whenever you paint, you're painting yourself. So it's a self-portrait. It doesn't look like me. And in fact, it was...
Well, I'm not sure. We are talking about a particular part of your anatomy.
Yes.
I don't know what that looks like. I would never
I don't think it's like that.
Lord Bird founded The Big Issue and devotes his life to fighting poverty. John Bird grew up in a miserable world of grime and crime.
I started to get into trouble. Misdemeanors, you know, shoplifting, not going to school, fighting with the teachers, arson. And I ran away from an institution and stole a car and smashed it up.
That was your childhood?
That was my childhood. And at the age of 15, I was put in a boys' prison, learnt to read and write. Then I was transferred to a reformatory where they gave me paint and drawing equipment because I wanted to draw, and I started because I was so depressed about the whole of my life. So art to me has been the big tipping point, and it civilized me. You're only talking to me now rather than probably handing me a few pennies, you know, out in the street. It's because I became socialized and civilized through art and culture.
So art is tipping point, but can it work for him? Homeless Carlos juggling while flogging The Big Issue on the street outside the gallery. It certainly worked for him. Charming Baker, who grew up as Alan Baker in a working class family and left school at the age of 16. He curated this collection. He and light artist Chris Levine share Lord Bird's vision, if not quite his personal experience. This is one of yours here. Yes. Just tell us about it briefly.
It's a painting based on an old painting by David of Napoleon crossing the Alps. And I've just done a version of it, which is actually a man falling off a horse and turned it around. And it was one of these pieces that started this idea of the tipping point. You know,
it's literally a tipping point.
It is literally.
But this was an outtake. It was at a moment where she was resting in between shots. It was also at a time when I was just getting into meditation. I'm really thinking if the world meditated, it'd be a very different place.
Was she meditating at the time?
I was very conscious of her breathing, so this was a little moment where there was a lot of light onto her, so I asked her to rest in between shots.
So here was this, what I guess originally started as an offcut, is now perhaps your most famous photograph. Was it a tipping point for you?
It opened up all kinds of things. I've met some amazing people, the Dalai Lama, for instance, but it was a great privilege to do it, and it was something completely unexpected.
This painting, it was in a show years ago and couldn't sell it, wouldn't sell. And then by certain set circumstances, it ended up at David Cameron's house, and he decided to give it to Barack Obama as a gift. So now this painting is on Barack Obama's wall, you know, and that changed
And that changed his life?
Changed a lot for Ben, yeah.
So this Jonathan Yeo is interesting, isn't it? Because it's based on a Gainsborough painting of Mr. and Mrs. Andrews, showing off their wealth. And instead of a crutch, the original one has a shotgun.
Yeah. Johnny was introduced to these homeless people at the time to recreate the pose.
People who, you know, who are homeless today, do you think this speaks to them, this exhibition?
I think art's the great leveller, isn't it? I think we all identify with it. We all start this way. We're all in infant school painting.
But quite a few of these cases of tipping points involve discovery and promotion by a celebrity. Is that a problem?
If I really want to get people to notice poverty, then I have to jump around and get a royal in or get a movie star.
Or perhaps a peer of the realm.
There's a guy out there selling the big issue. He's a photographer. He has photographic exhibitions. He's raising the game in his life.
His name is Carlos Gonzalez. His photographs are brilliant. And who knows, perhaps he's about to have his own tipping point.